Good noon to all of you, dignitaries on dais, and off the dais, प्रोफेसर गोविंद सॉरी ये सीनियर प्रोफेसर जो हैं हमारे अभी आए सर, फाउंडर प्रोफेसर नारायण, या प्रोफेसर एच.के. नारायण सर, H.P. नारायण. Sorry for my ignorance, because first time I'm seeing you. You have done a great job by creating such a society as a founder of the society, and dignitaries on other side. Dr. Rajesh Kashyap, Professor Naresh Gupta, Dr. Prabhat, Professor C.K. Sahi, and my younger brother Dr. Rajesh Kashyap. The rest of the our administrator, dean, additional MS, now he has become additional medical superintendent, faculty members, and dear students. Well, I was thinking that when I was medical student, there was a short note given to me during one of the terminal by pathology, and that was on von Willebrand disease. None in my batch could write 2 lines about von Willebrand factor and disease. And that is how I remember this entity since then, because the teacher had a cut mark on my question also. Though I responded well, but spelling mentioned was a bit mistaken. Hemophilia, as far as hemophilia is concerned, is something to do, we are talking about the blood. The human body is such a miraculous creation in universe that if you think no engineer on the earth has that potency who can develop such a structure as the Almighty has developed. If you go by convention and if you evaluate the caste of your body, and that is something I am talking which is not science, but as I am in habit of going in spirituality bit. So if you evaluate the 5 components of the body, the clay, the water, and the sun, and air, and the universe, it does not cost more than 100 rupees. Our body might be having the clay of nearly 50 rupees or so. Water in it may be 20-40 rupees or so. 4 liter of water, if you include by market rate, it would fall to something like 80 rupees. And sun is free of cost, and universe is free of cost. Air is free of cost until somebody goes on ventilator, as in COVID season. So it will not amount for more than 200 rupees or so. Now water has become blood here, and the blood has a different kind of potency to serve the entire body and each cell of human body, and each cell in itself is a big industry. Why I am telling so? Because we know that the medical science has changed. 19th century was the century for the medical science, which was based on the reasoning and logics. In 20th century, the medical practices has gone to a different level, from macro to micro to atom to, now it is a molecular. So that was the era of genomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and bioelectronics. And in the next century, we are going to live in a century where it would be era of medical electronics, medical engineering. Everything would be based on engineering. The treatment would be based on engineering. And the hemophilia itself would not remain devoid of this thing. Why I am saying so? Because I am not a physician, I am a neurosurgeon. I know that the intracranial hemorrhages in small little children, in newborns and neonates, they are secondary to hemophilia. And most of the times we are referred the kids because I had been exclusive pediatric neurosurgeon for a decade or so. I had been referred the patient from different parts of the countries with intracranial hemorrhages and their consequences. I documented the intraventricular hemorrhage, subarachnoid hemorrhage, subdural hemorrhage, parenchymal hemorrhage, venous hemorrhage, hydrocephalus following intraventricular hemorrhage, meningitis following intraventricular hemorrhage. So different kinds of the consequences and sequelae have been documented in literature if we talk about the hemophilia particularly, because it is the it's an inherited disease, and that is why the manifestation starts right from utero sometimes. Today we are prescribing different kinds of the treatment, factor 8, factor 9, cryoprecipitate. History goes that the treatment was started right from the fresh blood. When I was a student, then also hemophilics were transfused fresh blood. Now the era has reached from the fresh blood to the cryoprecipitate plasma and different kinds of the treatments. The era has come. I was going through a paper which described that a gene therapy has been started. This is the era of the gene. You know, genomics has taken over, and decoding of the diseases in days to come would be done purely on the genetic basis. And the personalized medicine, what is called as personalized medicine, the personalized medicine would be based on the genomic decoding, probably in days to come. So two things happened in the last decade, was the genomic outburst and the nanoparticle, nanomedicine. If you talk about the nanoparticle, what is nanoparticle? It is not our subject. I will briefly tell few words about it. Nanoparticle are the particles of 10 raised to power minus 9 size. That means 100 times thinner than the thickness of your hair. So now the scientists are targeting the nanoparticles, and the nanoparticles are being exploited for the diagnostics, for the therapeutics and theranostic approaches. A new term, theranostic approaches. Therapeutics, diagnostics, simultaneously diagnostic cum treatment, and this has been utilized by the cardiologists in advanced centers. So now nanoparticles are used for the diagnostic imaging. Today we have images available where the ultra thin, ultra super magnetic power iron oxide imagings are done, where you can evaluate in brain, because I am a neurosurgeon, so I will talk more about the brain. One can see in gliomas about the pattern of proliferation of blood vessels, the architecture of blood vessels in malignant tumors. The technology has gone so much so advanced that the genetic mutation can also be seen by utility of by exploiting these particles, nanoparticles. So today the nanoparticles are being utilized and availed not only for the imaging, not only for the diagnosis, not only for the different kinds of the imaging, but it is utilized for the targeted therapy. Suppose somebody has a tumor and you want to deal at the level of molecular, it applies more on the brain, because the brain has the heterogeneity of the cells, and that is why no chemotherapy, no radiotherapy works there. 150 types of the tumors are known in brain. So the scientists thought that why should not we embark to the level of molecule. So the manipulation of molecule and atom in 3 dimensions, availing that facility to the devices and availing that facility for the treatment at molecular level, is called as molecular biology. So molecular biology has further been advanced, and that is called as microfluidic technique. This is a new term for us, because I keep on delivering these talks in scientists also, so I am little aware of those. You must know as a medical scientist what is microfluidic. Microfluidics are the second term for the microfluidic is the lab in chips. Now the lab has gone to the chips. In era in which we are going to thrive on, and particularly the young generation, they would be dealing with the lab in chips. And what is lab in chips? These are the technology for the acceleration of what? Availing the nanoparticle for the health. That is called as the microfluidic. They can have several channels measuring in one dimension at least more than 1 millimeter. So microfluidic technologies are in use the day the control on the production, the library of production, having the homogeneity and screening method, we would immediately be embarking to the era of health electronics and health molecular treatment and treatment by the nanoparticles. And similar study I found in hemophilia. It is a very long discussion. If I keep on discussing, it will take hours, and this is not decorous for at least dais to keep on speaking for hours together. So I will brief my discussion that in hemophilia also, today you are harping to test the prenatal checking. Professor Sai Dr. Sai was talking about the prenatal checking and stopping those births. The era has come, and I was going through a study. Dr. Anupa brought it for me when she came to know, and she was nodding her head about the microchips. The use of AAV based gene has come in vogue. Adeno-associated virus gene. And this gene, if injected subcutaneously, this will relieve a bleeding disorder for 8 years or so in A and more than 9 years or so in hemophilia B. And the incidences of bleeding have been documented to be decreased from 55% to 93%. But it is yet to be come into the market for professional uses. But the things are going, and why these are going? It is by virtue of the nanotechnology. Nanotechnology has advanced in such a manner that many cancer drugs and many drugs of kidney disorders, liver disorders are being formulated using the nanotechnology. Nanotechnology has been utilized not only for the pharmaceutical uses, it has been utilized for the diagnostic uses, it has been utilized for the marketing uses, it has been utilized for the imaging purposes. Cell, we are talking about it is something very recent. I was amazed. The tumor once occur, squamous cell carcinoma occurs say in mouth and it metastasizes to the lymph nodes. How does it happen? The tumor cells have the propensity to adapt in a milieu. The cell membrane adapts in such a manner that it shrinks in order to pass through the bloodstream and lymph nodes, lymphatics to go into the to get deposited into the lymph node. The signal transduction. This is a new term for you. Those who are molecular biology. I have keen interest in reading, so I keep on reading. The signal transduction would be monitored in days to come by exploitation of the nanotechnology, and you will come to know as to what kind of receptors you are dealing with, and those receptors would be made silent. The cell would be failing to change its shape in order to metastasize, and at that level the work in medical science is going on. As a medical scientist, you must know it. So what I wanted to say, that today you are gathered here for the treatment diagnosis, prenatal diagnosis, and to treat the consequences for the hemophilia, but the day would not be far when the hemophilics would be advised 1 dose of vaccine or 1 dose of gene therapy and have a normal life. No walking difficulty, no subcutaneous hematomas, no muscular hematomas, no intracranial hematomas, no bleeding disorders, no menorrhagia, no metrorrhagia. Professor Minirani was very brief and She is such a sweet. First time when she came and with Professor Sahai, I could not believe that such elegant and such courteous people are still there in RIMS Ranchi. So I think if I keep on talking about the nanotechnology, nano wafers, nanotubules, nano scaffoldings, nanoparticles, tubules and their utilization, it would be too much. And if I start talking about the microfluidic technologies and their uses, it may take more than 2 hours or so. But as far as the hemophilia and other malformation, congenital malformations, we are seeing probably the era will come and it would be a challenge for the new blood sitting behind. You should be very up to date and remain abreast with the knowledge and upcoming things. Thank you very much for tolerating me for these many minutes.
When I say something new, you know.